Greeting YouTube. Apologize for the background noise. Life does move on. um, Years ago, I did a video about my Uncle George. And it was just a dedication to him. It was just me talking about a man that I loved deeply and that the world lost far too young. He was only 29 when he died. I was 19. Um, there's a 10-year time span between my mother and him and between him and me. So my mom's 20 years older than me, and George was in the middle. Um, and he was taken by Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was not a good battle, and it was hard on him. He was a big man, and at the end, he just kind of wasted away. And I made the dedication to George, and I wasn't talking about anybody else but my uncle. That's it. A good old boy from coal country in Pennsylvania, just a redneck, okay, with no hatred in that statement. That's what he was. He was into hunting and cars. Um, he loved drinking with his buddies. He was just a good old boy, and I loved him. Um, and even to this day, I still miss him. But the video I put up has drawn a lot of attention over the years, and lots of people have left comments as though I was talking about someone else. But I'm talking about my uncle. I've even gotten pushback at the video. People saying, "Well, just leave George alone. You don't have to, don't have to bring him up in this video. Just let him rest in peace." And it's like I'm talking about my uncle. I don't know who you think I'm talking about. And I get the inference that it's actually a number of different Georges, that different people watching the video will interpret my words as referencing different men named George, famous men from anywhere, I guess, from the spectrum of entertainment or society. That my video has become a blank canvas for them to project their own stories upon. And at first it kind of frustrated me, but I'll be honest, now I find the whole thing rather fascinating. That people can write their own stories upon my video, even though it was a deeply personal video about my uncle. And I can't get mad at that anymore, because it's just interesting that if you give people just a little bit, they'll write the rest of the story for you. You don't have to write the whole story. And there's a message in there right there for folks who are doing storytelling. Whether you are writing something that's going to be read, it's in prose, or you're doing something that's in poetry, or you're a GM for doing a role-playing game, or you're directing a play or a film. Show, don't tell. Give them enough that they can run with it. Because that's what they've done with my video. They've taken for what I've said, and they've just gone off in whatever direction they need to go in, fed from my video. Essentially, it's a kind of a word game. Now, we all probably played word games. My friend Amy and I played word games constantly. We communicate strictly through text. And so we are always playing word games. We all get into voracious pun battles. We intentionally misinterpret what the other person has said. If one of us makes a spelling mistake, that we run with the spelling mistake, and that takes us off into a new tangent. And that's what these folks have done with my video. They have been fed something, a kernel, and then they grew an entire story around it. And that right there, that's darn interesting.